Alright, it is the morning of November 15th, and Brett and I are back after it again. I tagged out on the 9th, and Brett was able to slip away for another day. We've seen a lot of deer this morning. It's the first sunny morning we've had for quite a while, and I'm telling you, these bucks are rutting like crazy this morning. They've been up on their feet from daylight, and they're still on their feet. It's 9 o'clock, and we seen a whitetail buck that was very respectable with a doe or two, and then also a herd of mule deer with a pretty nice mature buck in it. They all went to the same draw, and they're just rutting like crazy in this draw, so we are going to slip in. We got both the mule deer and the whitetail heads up decoys, and we are going to see if we can't get in on them and try to get something decoyed in. So hopefully this goes well. Alright, we got to within about 80 yards of this mule deer herd. I see two bucks up on the hill, and just over the hill there's a mature buck and several doe. We've came up here behind some yucca plants, and we're just going to hang out. The wind is in our face, and I think he's going to make a circle at some point and come to the downwind side of all this herd. We're just going to make sure that we sit here quietly. The wind's supposed to die down today, so we are in position now so that hopefully when he makes his rounds we'll be ready. So, ready to roll. It's just like all day. Is he?
He's dead. Guarantee you. Smoke City. Right behind the shoulder, like 2 inches.
He's still rutting. He didn't have a clue.
Look at the blood pouring out of it.
We just smoked a mule deer buck with a heads up decoy, boys and girls. Well, we just got it done. It's November the 15th. We crawled into this draw. We spotted a nice whitetail from a distance. And we also spotted a mule deer herd that came down in here. We got to within about 70 yards of this mule deer herd. There was a pretty nice buck up here running these does, and he would bed for a while. And then we decided to stay put behind this yucca plant right here. And we looked down on this draw bottom and we saw an awesome whitetail buck. He stood up. Two young bucks stood up and they came walking up the hill. Luckily I brought both the whitetail buck heads up decoy and I also brought the mule deer doe. We knew both species were in here. We decided to stay put, sitting here behind this yucca plant. And as soon as those whitetails got up, the big buck got up, his doe got up and moved off. And then that's when the mule deer started getting up and kind of chasing each other around. I presented the mule deer doe decoy after the mule deer got up, and the big buck was chasing the small bucks off. They were doing crazy figure eights up here about 30 to 50 yards. He at one point came within about 10 to 15 yards. He ran around us. I don't know how he didn't spook. He ran out to about 60 again, made another loop, brought him back, and right up here, he stopped out here by this yucca plant, and I told Brett to come to full draw, and he let the arrow go at 20 yards, and clean passed through, made a perfect shot. That buck stood out there and tried to rut for a little bit. He finally went down, and our 2017 season is done.
I can see his rack.
Brett made an awesome shot. Another moment with this big guy.
Look at the rack sticking up right up there.
And he's done. Man, I can't tell you how much I enjoy time out with this guy. My best hunting buddy.
That buck's up there breeding a doe.
And we have a young buck breeding a doe as we speak. So we are going to recover the big boy here. And we're going to celebrate. So thank you, Kendra, Molly, for letting us do this. Thank you, Garrett Rowe, again, for making an awesome product. We couldn't have got away with all that we did without the decoys today. One.
Well, here we are. Finally got everything recovered on this big boy. Got some photos. Most importantly, we recovered the deer. He was a tough old booger, to say the least, no doubt. But I thought we made an excellent shot on the first one. Ended up being just a tiny bit low. We're pretty confident we caught the bottom of the lungs, but was just a touch behind the front shoulder there and didn't get the heart. So we ended up getting within 40 yards of him again. Put a really good shot on him, I thought, quartering away. Hit him right in front of the hind leg on the left side, and this is actually the exit wound here on the front shoulder. He come all the way through the middle of his body, and he held that thing for, seemed like forever. 20-30 minutes maybe, I don't know. He had his head in the air. So we ended up walking up here on him and giving him one last blow. But needless to say, it's over with. So we want to thank Mr. Garrett Rowe. I've never met him, but Travis has nothing but good things to say about him for these awesome decoys. It worked phenomenal today. Everything was awesome. We was right amongst them for probably a couple hours, and finally got it done. And want to thank Mr. Billy Bob back there behind the camera. I wouldn't want to do it with anybody else. So anyway, brother, I love you, and I guess that's in for this guy.